Hello and welcome to an Everquest guide on how I play a level 110 Enchanter boxed. Some of this might be applicable to, a non-boxed character, but I don't charm or anything like that, so it's mostly a boxed-based guide here. So let's start with our spells and whatnot. Let me kind of explain how I do this. So if you haven't watched any of the other videos, all my characters have the same extended target. So X-Tar 1 is the tank, 2 is the Enchanter, 3 is the Druid, 4 is the assist target, so what we want to kill, and then 20 is the tank. Alright, so spell-wise, I have a few nukes, because that's pretty much what she does. So we have Mind Slash, which does a 27,000 damage. We have Mind Sunder, which does 22,000 damage. We have Polyfluorescent Assault, which does 13,000 damage. Psychic Apparition, which does 10,000 and then reflects 1,000 mana back to the group. And then Chromatic Filter, which does 7,500 and then casts Chromatic Filter onto the tank, which is a 21,000 melee damage rune. And if we go to see here, none, focus, the Beguiler Synergy, every time we cast Mind Slash, we gain Beguiler's Synergy 2, which increases the base damage of the next spell cast by anybody in the group, Fire, Ice, Magic, and Chromatic by 45%. So if we do like this, we should get the buff right here. There you go, 13 seconds to cast that. And then if we do Chromatic Flicker, spell damage, you see here we got the bonus to that, 28,000 non-crit, and we got a 238,000 crit. So kind of think of it there, and then our weapon procs when we cast spells. So I have lots of damage going on because that's my that's how my multi-bind set up. So I hit 4, I target X-Tar 4, which is the target, and then I cast all those nukes. I cast the crystal, I cast mental contortion, Eldritch Rune. I try to keep that up as much as I can. Azure Crystal to resummon my crystal, and then I auto inventory that. Plus tell my pet to attack. So every time I hit 4, all of that happens over the course of a few clicks. All right, and then I have a Delude. This is the 106 mez. That mezes up to 113. This is good until probably the Burning Lands level mobs. The 110 plus mobs will need the new mez that we'll get at 101. Then we have Perplexing Wave, which is an AoE mez. This is my primary mez. I primarily AoE mez. Just if there's 2, I can usually tank it. 3 is when I start mezzing, so AoE mez is the best course of action for me. Then I have Infused Minion. So I use the Summoned Pet, so I do the Infused Minion buff here whenever I remember. Just kind of buffs the minion up pretty good. I don't know if this can be cast on a charmed pet, but it, increases their HP, increases their attack, all that stuff. And then it gives them a chance to trigger a 6,000 proc. So it's pretty crazy. I try to keep that up as much as I can. Tenebrous Auspice. So this puts a rune on my target, which will absorb 75% of the incoming melee damage in excess of 25,000. So, best I can understand, if the hit is, so let's say 50,000, right? The 25,000 over that, 75% of that gets absorbed into the rune, up to 69,000. So, I think that's how it works, but I could be wrong. I don't get hit for that much yet very often, and when I do, I'm not paying attention to anything because I'm chain healing on all my characters to make sure I don't die, because that is still too much damage for me. And then I do Twin Cast Aura and Transfixer's Aura. Transfixer's Aura being Every 6 seconds, we gain 46 mana and 6 endurance to anybody next to us inside of our aura range. And the aura range, like, is if we go like right over here. So there's my Enchanter. If we go, that's about how far we have that we can go. So typically, my characters are close enough together so that you can keep the aura up. Enchanters get 2 auras. They're the only class that does, so they get a little bit more bonus there. And then my last slot right now is just a flex spot. I have rune, or I have haste in there right now because these stupid mercenaries die so much. I have to rehaste them. But I'd probably put in one of these dots, like Stringulate or maybe Mind Tempest. One of these is, what does Mind Tempest do? Chromatic damage every 6 seconds. Stringulate effect deals 2200 damage to mana and restores mana to me. So this is probably something I would want to cast when I can. I mean, 18,000 damage every 6 seconds. That seems pretty good. But I typically I don't do much besides nuke with her. So nuke and crowd control. So for my bars here, I got a hide corpse macro that forages because foraging is awesome. Then my assist, every time I hit 4 on any character, it just casts everything down there. Then I have the glyph spray, which just does a little rune that absorbs some damage. Then my burns are silent casting spire, twin cast. I have no idea what 261 is. I can't figure it out. Can't find it. I guess I should look it up. Calculated insanity, illusions of grandeur, chromatic haze, and reactive rune. So there's just like a lot of stuff going on there. And then I have intensity resolute here in burn 3 as a final kind of burn, just in case the fight goes too long. Then I have sit, so when I'm on my paladin I can hit 0 and my other characters will sit if we're inside. Then I have self stasis, which is a kind of escape evaders kind of thing, right? So I can hit that and she will try not to die. Then I have a slow macro, so this targets my target. Attempts the AE slow, right? So if the AE slow is down, it has like they have different cooldowns, right? What are they called here? They have names. They're slowing helix, which is 735, which is a single target, right? It's a, you know, I can cast it every 6 seconds. But if I'm able, every 3 minutes, I can cast AoE, which will hit all 8 creatures within that little, radius, right? So ideally, I want to be AoE mezzing if I can, but it is what it is if I can't. And if I can, and I typically only slow named and more than a few mobs, so it just depends on what I have. Then I have a Tash macro, which is a Bite of Tashani right here, highest order of Tashani we have, which is a single target Tash. Just a matter of getting that out there. Lowers the magical resistance and should increase the damage to any spells that hit it for 14 minutes. So when we do that, there you go. I guess it does AoE Tash too. So if we look on here, so it's got Tash plus Tashin's Lingering Cry, and that landed on both of those. They're pretty close, so the range is pretty acceptable. And then I have short-term buffs, which is just Tenebrous Auspice, right? So I hit this numpad 5, right? And my tank gets buffed, and that gets all the druid buffs and all the enchanter buffs. I think at 111 or so I get Nightstar Terror again, and that will be a buff I put on my paladin at all times for the extra stats and stuff, but I don't cast the lower level one right now. So my Mez macro is pretty pretty standard, I guess. I target X-Target 5, so X-Target 4 is what I'm fighting currently with my tank. X-Target 5 through 19 are other targets. So I go for 5, which means if I have 2 mobs, there's 5 is going to be the next mob, right? I turn attack off just in case attack's on. I don't want to like have it targeted and then swing my sword and break the mess, right? Or her dagger, whatever she's using. I do activate 409, which is the single target 3-minute mez. So it's a 5-minute recast. So if it's up, it's up. It takes care of it, right? It's a good single target mez to kind of use, and if I can use it, I'm going to use it, right? If that fails to be up, right, it's on cooldown, I go to delude, which is just the normal standard mez, right? And then do the same thing for X target 6, but I don't have the alternate ability in there because it's going to be down if I already mezzed 5. So just go straight into it and does a standard mez. But then here on my numpad 9, I have an AoE mez. So this casts Beam of Sunder, Slumber. Can't talk today. This casts in Beam of Slumber, right? So this will mez up to 8 creatures, 113 or lower, in a 30 by 200 foot area, right? So this is like, it's a pretty massive area, right? If I'm like right here and I cast it, it's gonna like hit all of this, right? It's just everything in front of me gets mezzed. Now, it's not the longest mez in the world. It's 18 seconds. And then it triggers Slumber Root, and the Slumber Root just roots it in place, and then reduces the accuracy. And the root will last for a minute, and the accuracy lasts for 2 minutes. So it's pretty nice. So what I do is I usually hit that kind of like, it's kind of almost like a stun, if you will, because it's only 18 seconds. And then I immediately try to cast my AoE mez, which is Perplexing Wave, which will just pretty much AoE mez everything for 54 seconds. So it kind of gives me a little bit of time to kind of react a little bit faster. And that's a 1 minute reuse, so it's fantastic. And there's 6 more ranks to that, so it's gonna get better, I guess. All right, then my group buff things, but I don't really buff at all with this character. I just have infused minion right here. I was dragging it around trying to decide where to put it. Some other gating stuff like guild hall, gate, origin, campfire, stuff like that. I try to have these all the same on all the characters, so I just kind of have them there. I set up this charm macro a long time ago for X target 19. Cast 1, which right now is a nuke, but that should probably be cast 13. So yeah, because I'm not gonna change the top stuff. So if I ever decide I'm gonna charm, I want to try it, but it's problematic to pay attention to it for me. Like I'm solely focused when I'm playing the paladin. I really, that's what I'm focused on. So it's kind of hard. I'm gonna be doing a lot of practicing in the Boom Regards travels, playing Viva there as the Enchanter, trying to see if I can get better at it before I start doing it in this one. Because if I mess up here, the mob will kill me, right? And if we look at the charm, right, the charm is actually pretty sweet spell these days. I'm gonna use Transfixer's command, so it infiltrates the mind, right, allowing you to control them for 7 minutes and 30 seconds, increasing their stats by a lot. Gives them 68% haste. It only works on things lower than 109, and there's a 30% chance when it breaks it'll stun them. So it's pretty nice spell, but I'm still not there. I'm not to the point where I would want to use it yet, so we'll see. And then I have these other mez macros that I don't even use, so I could just probably throw them off the bar right now because I'm never going to use them. Some more veteran awards, and then here's my multi-bar, my multicast bar, which is just every single one of my abilities that I spam constantly, my lesson. Here's just a simple click. So when I like to do dots on named, but I don't like to have them in macros, so I'm not spamming a dot over and over again. So I'll just click onto, you know, go like click onto or click the dot and move on, you know, to the next character and do stuff. Nothing else up here is really important. Yeah, I'm too lazy to actually use Beguiler's Banishment and all this stuff correctly. So this will knock them back and make them forget you and root them for 18 seconds. 18 seconds isn't long enough for me to do anything, so I just never do. If I was putting the Enchanter as the main character, we'd have a different story on how I use some of this stuff. Then we have a Gribbles macro. I don't Gribbles anymore. And then an Agent of Change macro. I don't really do that as much at the moment. But Orator's Unity. This is a pretty much cast myself buffs kind of thing. I just every few hours you cast it, right? So I guess every 22 minutes I need to recast it so I get this ward back up. Just, you know, free buff that I don't have to think about. These are all standard things, group and viz and stuff like that. Let's see here. Gear wise, at 110, I'm in Ring of Scale, Conflagrant gear. I've had this since 106. So all my characters have a little bit more gear now, but you know, I think at this point at 110, this is probably like the best kind of gear you'd get. And then at 111, you'd want to move into the tier 1 TOV armor. I guess you could also at 110 you could be in TBL group armor and stuff like that, but I'm not there. So I'm not there, so you know, just, you know, get what you can get, right? This is good enough for now, but I'll definitely need better later on. Let's see here. That's my buffs. I cast Clarity when I need it. I cast Haste when I need it. And I keep these two auras up, and I just go like this. Does he have a target? All right, perfect. Let's go spell damage. I just come over here and I hit 4. This is all from my paladin. I'm hitting 4, right? And Iceboxer does the multicasting of the keybinds, but you can see here, I mean, we do damage, so it's actually pretty good. There's a few fights where I've had her parse pretty high. She outparses the mercenary, that's for sure, so that's a good thing. I've tried caster mercenaries. Right now I'm using the melee mercenary just because the caster ones are a mess, but we're getting a lot of 200,000 plus hits and stuff like that with this. On a named, I'm going to throw a dot in there if I have one mimed, and then just keep going with it, right? So we got Mental Contortion on there, we got Mind Tempest, and you can kind of see 56k just from that dot tick. AA wise, auto grant stops now, right? So at 110 you don't get any more auto grant. At 111, I've been looking at where I want to kind of go. I've thought, let's see here, archetype enhanced ruin looks kind of nice, right? Increases the base damage or the damage over time spells a little bit. Seems like it might be you know, a little bit better. So I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do. I haven't decided how I want to do it, but I'm waiting until 111 to kind of start investing in anything, so I can kind of see where I'm at. But I mean, you see, we're getting some pretty nice hits here, and we're just gonna do damage. That's kind of the way I play her. And the pet is hitting for 8,900 critical, 3,000 normals. So the pet is actually doing like damage now. This pet could solo old raids. He's not a joke anymore. So definitely kind of nice. I think the only benefit like the pet could have is if I summoned him mage armor and mage weapons. That would definitely increase the pet dramatically. But I mean, I went half an episode once with it dead. I didn't even realize it. So it's not that deal breaking kind of thing. But that's kind of like all I wanted to talk about the Enchanter. That's kind of how I have it set up. Pretty much just, you know, at this point in the game, everything is kind of set in stone, if you will. And everything's just an incremental, you know, you get the new version of the spell, new version of that spell. So as we work our way to 125, that we'll see, and how things will coalesce into like what the final build will be and the final setup. But thank you very much for watching, and please have a fantastic day.